had I remembered that I'm working out later, I would have started this earlier. So I will try to do that because I I could have had it at 8. I just forgot. So anyway,
Oh,
now I am
no
recording.
worries.
So because these Teams meetings, I don't usually have a set, here's what I want to talk about. More so I did in the previous format for this class, which you may have heard. I don't know, but you used to have to do a research study, and this was part one. This is where you put together your proposal. Here's what I think I want to do. Here's how I think I want to do it. And we took that out. And to be quite honest, I'm not sure what the new, starting in term 3, what the capstone itself will look like. It's a project, but I'm not sure what that project is. It can't be a full study because you wouldn't have time to do it. So anyway, as I said in my intro, this is a brand new course, completely revised. It sets you up for 5910 because it's all about research, and maybe that's what maybe that's what 5910 is going to have a new number, I think. But yeah, 5910 is elementary track, 5911 is secondary track. And maybe the project is to do some research. I'm not really sure because I missed the meeting, and it's like, unless I teach it, I do need to find out about it, but it doesn't start till term 3. So anyway, now it's just a free for all for you to talk about what you want to, whether it's school related or not. But I do record because of that not everybody can be here. So, and I put it out on YouTube so everybody can watch it. So whatever you want to talk about, it's all yours.
Okay,
Yeah,
so can I quickly clarify something?
of
So,
course.
as I mentioned to you in my email, like I've been having yeah, just a life crisis over the last
Yeah.
year. And so that's why, and I've honestly been having like a mental block with this final course because of the whole research thesis thing. Has that actually been taken out? Oh, my
Yeah,
God.
you write about research. Yeah, and I have mixed emotions. I think it's important for the separate or the well, yeah, delineation between undergraduate and graduate to conduct some research because what teachers do, and I've been saying this in my videos. I don't know. I mean, I record them in advance, so I don't always remember when I said something, but undergraduate is all about methods. Okay, if you sit down and read to your students, they'll learn to read. I remember thinking that, but the what sets you apart in masters is when you say, God, my students are out of control after lunch. I'm going to start reading to them. Hey, it worked. They're all calm. There you go. That's teacher research, kind of, but there's no scientific basis, and we're just happy it worked. For
Mm,
however long it works, that's what we want to do. So in the masters, we should be learning
yeah.
why it worked and will it continue to work, and what does research say about reading to students. So, and I think you get that through UO People very well. I think it's a good program. Sometimes I wish I'd gotten my master's from here. Unfortunately, because I teach, I can't take any classes, but teaching the classes, I've certainly learned so much about particularly constructivism, and
Mm,
and it's honed my own research skills, I think. So maybe conducting an actual research study is not really necessary as long as you understand how to go about one. And 5910 may be that. It may be a very compact research study or a study using secondary data. So there are websites out there that are collecting or that collect data from researchers, and So you can go basically find anything for, fourth grade math from the NAEP, which that may only be in the United States. But it's one of the standardized tests. And so you can get that data, and fourth grade students took it in September, and then they retook it in May, and you've got your research study data. Now, what you don't get is what the researchers did. So what was the intervention? And the intervention is what you do to drive change. So reading to students after lunch is an intervention. You're trying to see if it's going to calm them down. So when you use that secondary data, I don't know what the teacher did. So if the scores increased and the statistical analysis says the scores increased because of the intervention and it was a significant increase, I don't know what they did. Great, but I don't know what they did. So it may be 5910 is taking secondary data and sort of pretending that's your data. I just really don't know. So, but if I were going to design a class, that's probably how I would do it. Is the data are probably the least. I'm gonna say this, and people outside, on in the Google machine, hold on, okay? But the data are probably the least important component in a study because they are what they are. They're going to turn out. So in a pretend study, not a real study. I'm sorry.
There's so many parameters. That's what I find with data, variable and constant if we want to be scientifically correct.
Right.
Depending on what I've learned with depending on where we are and who we deal with, the students' background, it just so it varies from schools to school. So
and when we talk about the research we do, it's action research. So NAEP gathers data, or PhD says, hey, you got a problem. Kids who don't eat breakfast appear not to concentrate as well in school. Okay, see you later. Action research says, you know what? I think we have a problem. I know not all our kids are eating breakfast. So let's implement a program where they all eat breakfast, and then we'll test them before and after. And if the scores increase and the analysis says it's because of breakfast, we're going to keep feeding them breakfast. That's the action research. The data gathering is just good information, and it gives you a direction. So if we were doing a pretend study, taking secondary data, the most important part is your literature review, where you go out and see what the experts have said already, who's already done a study on fourth grade math, and then what did the teachers do in between the before and after tests. That's what you have to use your expertise in not just a method you learned in your bachelor's studies. So like I said, do you really need to conduct a real live study with, we had a lot of our UO People students use colleagues because working with kids is risky. And I mean, I think that I, as an instructor, was always mindful of, hey, let's not do that intervention because you got some kids that could cause some emotional harm, whatever. But, and I never actually saw that, but the potential is there to call, if you say to a kid, all right, I tested you and we did this intervention, and Johnny, how come you think you didn't improve? Well, you didn't improve, and so there's a risk of some harm. So with colleagues, there's still risk of harm, because if you have your you say, hey, my three friends, Lauren, Langley, and Betty, I want you to do this intervention. I'm going to track your students. And then your students' scores don't increase. Lauren could say, what did I do wrong? So there's potential for harm no matter what you do. But with kids, it's just more challenging because they don't understand that. So anyway, I don't know now what 5910 is, but it is completely disconnected from 5470. 5470 is now just a regular class that's just the focus is on ethics and research.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's
So
see.
it's not gonna, because honestly, like, this is why I've been delaying doing the final 2 courses. And also I've been doing freelance teaching for the last year. So I haven't had one set group, and I've honestly been freaking out. I was like, I don't even know my plans for next year, if I'm going to be in a classroom full time, or like, I've been honestly having like breakdowns over this.
Oh,
because I just want to finish this master's.
And we did run into that, and I had 2 students where I allowed them to use secondary data. They just had no way. Just had no way. They didn't have colleagues because they were like you. They weren't in the classroom
as well. Like the surveys, and like I've done it in the past. And trying to collect surveys is like such a headache.
Well,
you ask
and
people on Facebook, and then like
right.
So I've been having such a okay.
Yeah. Right.
I'm not going to drop out. I'm going to stick to the course. I'm going to do this.
But we just don't want it to appear that our master's program is not as rigorous because we don't have a research study. So we talked with the accreditors, university accreditors, and many. I didn't do a research study in my master's course. I could have, and I had a great idea, I felt like, but my who would have been my chair instructor said, you don't have a big enough sample size. And now I see that part really didn't matter. It was just for a master's degree. If I'm getting paid, okay, I need 200 students. But if I'm just trying to show that I can design, conduct, and analyze a study, if I had 10 students, that's fine. Anyway, I do want to say, let's see, Elo. I'm not sure if that's your first name.
Yes.
Okay, good. Do you want to come on camera? You don't have to, but you can. We'd love to see you.
I'm just hello everyone.
There you are. Okay, hello. So
I'm just joining the group.
Yeah, okay, good. I am recording this meeting. I'm recording this meeting. So just if you don't want to be on camera, that's okay, but I am recording it. Because
it's okay.
For the students who can't be here, I don't want them to miss out on all our wisdom.
The connection is not very good. So I know I have that issue sometimes with technology, internet in Tanzania. I have to turn the camera off so the flow is better. It seems a little bit unstable for Elo.
Yeah, so nobody has to stay on camera. It's just, I like it because otherwise I'm just looking at these circles with, two initials, but yeah, however it works out. So yeah, so Elo, if you want to go off camera, that's fine. However you want to do it.
Yes, I'll go off and on. As long as the network allows me, I'll be on.
All right, perfect. Well, tell us where you are.
Nigeria.
Okay.
Neighbor.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, Tanzania, and then Langley's in
Port
Malaysia.
Harcourt, Nigeria. Hello, Betty. We've worked on a group together before.
Oh, okay. Hello, Elo.
Yes.
So, Elo, nice to meet you again.
Nice. Yes.
I wasn't sure because it might have been a different Elo.
They all run together. So yeah, that's one of the things we've taken out. UO People has taken out group. I think only 4 classes have a group activity now, because it's just
really.
Yeah, it's it's just so hard with the time zones.
Getting better by the minute.
I mean, I like in 5010, you do that group activity, and I think it's really worthwhile because it's your first introduction, maybe outside of your country. That oh, wow, teachers from Nigeria have the same desires for their students that a teacher in Alabama has. So I think it's good, but it's overkill because it's too hard with all the, connectivity and, like I said, time zones. So
Yeah, the time zones are what killed me, honestly. Like I loved meeting people, like from everywhere. It was great. And like learning the different curriculums and systems, but the time zone thing really like killed me.
Yeah. And doing stuff on WhatsApp and then like if you're in China, you can't get
you can't get half the stuff.
Well, you need VPN to get WhatsApp.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They use Line, or I don't even know if they use Line,
WeChat, I think. Yeah. So
WeChat,
those, those folks have had issues. So
wow. So they've really altered the course. They've really like reformed a lot of the stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we've got some, we're all volunteers, and then there are a few full-time people. And so I think when the university, at least the education department came in, I want to say 2014, it was just people who, well, I did it this way at my college. Okay. And I think as time went on and more, we got a more global teaching community, and then people who were professional educators or administrators at colleges said, okay, let's look at what we're doing course by course. And UL People has 230 courses because we have all the way from certificates up to masters in 3 disciplines. So and a 90% volunteer force. So as instructors, I get to do a lot on the backside. So I've gotten to design some courses. Now I'm getting involved with instructional design. I'm a mentor, I'm an evaluator. And if I were at, Texas A&M, I'd just be one of many. So anyway, I think the college is constantly evolving based on, good ideas. And you have your, that Word document you got probably 3 or 4 terms ago because Evernote went away, basically. So I've been putting together a Google site. So it's like a free website. And I think as I get mine perfected, it's close. But is it ever really perfect? But anyway, I'm going to suggest that maybe that's what we have teachers do. So you could either do the Word document artifacts, or you can choose a path to make a Google site. And because I think that's very valuable, because that Google site can act as a portfolio because you can upload, files and things. So anyway, yeah, as we have educators come in with different experiences, I think it's making the college just better and better.
Sorry. So has Evernote completely, like, we can't even, because I haven't been on my Evernote in like 2 months.
Yeah,
Is
you
it
have to
gone
pay.
now?
You have to pay. So I can get into mine, but I can't do anything with it. I can get the files, but you can't add any files if you don't pay. Or you can't add,
because
you
all
can't
my
add
stuff's
notebooks or something.
Like, I mean, the last
add.
like 3 years of portfolio stuff that we had to do for, so
Right.
can
So
I
you
like
can-
copy paste it or something?
So you can get into it. You can still see it. You just can't.
Okay.
Very limited on what you can add to it.
So
without paying.
so the university wants us now to switch over to documents or Google or something. Is that
Just
correct?
that Word document.
So
do you have?
we're just gonna like copy paste basically everything we've done. Okay.
No, you only have to do 2 artifacts per class.
Because I thought like in the final course we do, the 5-9, the final course we do, right? That's where they look at our portfolio.
Yeah, but not anymore. Yeah, it was. Yeah, we looked all through your Evernote. But
so that's also got away now.
That's gone. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So your
I'm sorry,
Evernote
this
is
is
still
very
valuable.
good news for me. It gives me a
Yeah,
lot less like anxiety.
But there's
yeah, and I was
on the
actually the
Word
one that
document, there's a tagging, and on the Evernote, there were no tags. On the Word document, there's tagging as well, which on Evernote
yes.
wasn't. You have a
Have they
column
given
with
us a document? Because I haven't seen
yeah,
this. Is it in the new course stuff?
2 months ago, right, Dr. Wolf? 2 months
Yeah,
ago,
I
something.
think 6 months ago, I was the one one
Oh,
of the
right.
ones who figured out that Evernote was not free anymore because I went into mine and pops up with you can pay $9.99 a month or you can get a year. And whoa! And I just thought, oh, this is a thing. And then nope, it's basically if you want anything added
Hmm.
or even organizing differently, it's a paid resource now. So I will get you the document, and all you have to
Thank
do
you.
is from each class, 5010, 5240,
Yeah.
pick 2 artifacts, a practice and a research, and put them in that Word document, and you just talk about, here's why I like this artifact. Here's
Okay.
why I keyed in on this
Right.
artifact.
So it's
But in my
only
last
2 for each course we've done. So like we've done 13 courses or something. So it's 2 for each. That's all.
Right.
Okay, got it.
Lauren, in my last 2 modules, our instructors asked us in some of the units in the portfolio, it was part of the task to share the Word document. You've not had that task. In my last 2 modules, the instructors asked us to share the Word document to guide us our
I
When was the
haven't
last
done,
time?
I haven't been these are my final 2. I'm in the final 2 courses now of the whole degree.
Yeah.
And so this I haven't done, I think I've taken like 3 semesters off.
Oh, that's why.
Okay.
Okay. So
So
I'll
I
get you the
haven't, so that's
document.
why this is all like news to me.
Yeah, it might be, let's see if
But I
when's it?
remember going onto my Evernote and they being like, "Oh, your Evernote is full now." And I was like, "Well, what am I meant to do now?" Because I
Okay.
worked hard on my Evernote, like I was very dedicated the first couple of courses.
Okay, let me see if I can get that document.
Oh, no stress. You can just email it to me, but this is good to know. Yeah, so I've been out of the loop of whatever changes have happened in like the last 6 months. I'm not actually aware of.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, I'll have to, I don't see it
No
here.
stress.
Yeah, so I'm
Can I?
gonna
Because
make
I've got
myself a note on my
Thank
little
you.
thing here to get you. Oh,
How long has everyone been doing this masters for? I'm pretty sure I'm taking the longest.
2.5 years. Well, 2 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, about 2 years as well. I think I've been doing it like one module at a time.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, with full-time work,
Yeah.
2-year-old, living in another country, going to another job now, so moving again in about a month. Yeah, best just to, do one thing at a time super
Yeah,
well
well,
and just trying to overload it and then
Yeah.
hope the best.
yeah, with the courses just being 10 weeks, or no, 8 weeks, aren't we? I saw a lot of students take 2 courses at a time, and I'm not
I don't know how
completely
they do it.
confident they're really absorbing and internalizing what they're learning. They're just trying to get through and get a piece of paper. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's a master's degree is it says something. It says you are a master of your craft. And if you've got this stuff coming at you and you're just banging out written
Whatever.
assignment, papers and using,
AI.
research that you found before. That's the other thing. When you're so busy, it's like, you know what? I think I wrote a paper about this in 5240. I'll just kind of use some of that information. You know, that's not really of value. So, but you know, people do it. But yeah, when I worked full time my entire college career, and I only ever took one class at a time. It took me 9 years to get my bachelor's, and
Okay, that
3
makes
years.
me feel better.
Yeah. Yep.
Because
Yeah,
I'm on year 4.5 now for this master's. And I started it during Corona. I was like, I've got so much free time. Let me attempt to do the master's. I was like, I'll get it done in 2 years, no probs. And then, I don't know, the state of the world's not helped the focus either. So,
yeah. Well, it worked out for you because you don't have to do a study now. So, hey,
and
timing
you
is
know what?
everything.
I manifested this. I've literally been like, maybe they'll take, honestly, like a couple of weeks, I was like, maybe they'll like change some things and then I'll definitely be able to finish it.
Yeah, it worked.
So,
Yeah.
Dr. Wolf, if we have a study going on, because in my last module, which was literacy, I started because of where I am. It just happened. It developed like naturally, which is linking technology integration into classroom. Because obviously I am in a developing country, so it's really interesting for me coming from a Western world. And like previously I taught in Dubai, so it's quite a big contrast as well. And like the need for the school, so my head teacher is like supporting me, so like this first unit is really interesting for me, like about ethic and what would be in the way. But is that okay, even if I've got like material for studies, is it okay to use that? Because as we started, so I've used a case study from like previous research that recommended like teachers to log in their technology use in the classroom. So I started doing that for a whole month in my previous module, and I've already had like some conclusion, and then the module finished. But we're carrying on. So is that okay to carry on and use it as an example?
Yeah, because you know, if you already found good research, it just has a different slant. I mean, now you know it's the same case study, but now you're looking at it through the lens of ethics. So
yeah,
am
that
I
is really
understanding?
helpful. Yeah, no, that's really helpful because it's like there's also language barrier. So it's really interesting. It made me think of a lot of things already looking at the guideline for this first assignment. And I'm quite glad it's happening now. It was made me think of Lauren and the timing, because so when I did the presentation in a staff meeting, I mean, the questions were in English, and we all English, we have a mixture of second English speakers and native English speakers. But then it made me think of the second English speakers who are from Tanzania. And I'm thinking actually I also have the questions of the survey translated in Swahili. So there isn't a language barrier or lost in translation, or maybe I can get a greater depth. And actually I can also ask them to, and I was not going to do that because nobody raises their hand and say, well, could you do it in Swahili? Everybody follows the motion of using English. And they are teaching in English. So I suppose like they hide behind the barriers of saying, I don't understand. They don't want to say it in an open. So, you know, like there's a question, say what could be in the way of doing your research? And I could even ask them to write the answer in Swahili, because I can have that translated too.
Yeah. So yeah, because when you're doing research or just getting participation, you know, we want to make the pathway as accessible as possible. It's sort of like quantitative versus qualitative data. Quantitative data is the scores went up. Okay. But the qualitative data says, well, my score went up because you were nicer to me, and so I like you better. Oh, okay. Well, that's maybe not the best reason, whatever. So if someone is struggling to think, how do I word this in English? Their response, I think, there's a risk it's not going to be as transparent. It's not going to be as authentic because they're more worried about using the correct English word as opposed to the correct English concept. So, and there could be with your staff, well, I'm supposed to know English, so I can't ask for Swahili. Just do it for them. I mean, a lot of students when when you had to do a consent form for parents, they put it in both English and Chinese or whatever the language was, just in case someone was more comfortable with that alternative language. So yeah, I think that's really smart.
Okay, so I'll carry on because interestingly, as a log, I'm trying to log in the timing is that we had our first observation with our head teacher is that we got no feedback from the questions. There were no forthcoming answers. So we are actually, that's a quote from the head teacher being passive aggressive, which we are taking the form and bringing it to the teacher and they have to fill it in. And then we're moving it up to from grade to grades. And she said, if that's what we have to do, we'll do that. And that's the first observation, is that nobody came forward with answers to the 3 questions that I used from the research paper that they were like suggesting to use during
What
this
were the surveys or were they anonymous?
No.
So you might think about that too. So if I put out there, did you like this training? I like training because you told me I like it. Yes. But Langley, who's a bit of a rebel, wants to say, no, this was incredibly boring, but his name's on the paper. So is he going to be honest? So if there were a way to make the surveys anonymized, even so far as typing, so put it in a Google form, you don't know who's answering how, because if you have them handwrite, you might know somebody's writing, or they may think she knows my writing. So you might think about that, making the the surveys anonymous.
But we want, well, not we, she wants to collect, the head teacher wants to collect all the teachers' point of view. She wants them to, then how do we know which answers we're missing? If
you just, that's the thing about participation, and it's voluntary, because if you say, I need, okay, I need 10 of these, there are 10 teachers, I need 10 back. Somebody's just going to write whatever they think you want to hear, or just they'll write something just to get out of get out of this training. So you just have to hope, and there's a whole science to surveys, and many times the most engaged participants are the ones who respond. So you get, it's skewed. It's going to be skewed data, because if I'm sitting here, this isn't going to change anything.
Yeah, but then we have no data. No, we have nobody came forward with any answers.
Yeah, I really, I think put it in Swahili and make it anonymous, because you want their authentic responses. You want to know what they feel. If they think something's not right, they need to tell you that so you can fix it. But if I think there's any kind of repercussion going to come to me because my name's on that paper, I'm not going to tell you the truth if I tell you anything at all.
No, that's right, because the first question is, what are your hopes for technology integration? And maybe they just want to tell me I have no hope, I don't care. And I want to have that answer.
Could be, because, and again, like I say, with participation, many times people don't participate in a survey because they think nothing's going to change. So why am I even doing this? And so, most for paid surveys, their goal is to get 24% participation. That is really low. But if you get 24%, that's the standard. That's the gold standard. And to me, that's sad, but it's just because, people are tapped out. If you give the survey at the end of the day, so your training is they're tired. They want to go home. They're hungry.
I know. Yeah.
So if you can give them, again, anonymous in Swahili, and give them 2 to 3 days, let them get it back to you. I wouldn't give them a week because they'll forget, but just make it as easy as possible, because then, they've had time to think about it, and even how you phrase the questions. What are your hopes for technology integration? I don't have any. Okay, how do you envision a successful technology integration? Okay, now they're forced to think about what that technology looks like, not just like, well, we're not going to get it. So yeah, like you said, I don't have any hope.
Yeah. Okay. It's good that I held back, because we had the meeting on Wednesday, and I'm like, okay. And I was also thinking all these questions from the assignment. I was like, yeah, is Thursday a good time to do this? Because everybody is also tired. It's the end of the week. The weekend's coming. Which day of the week is good? All these questions, like you said, like reading to students after lunchtime because they're tired. Well, stuff is the same. Thursday, nobody wants to think. We're done with the week. So Monday, we're all busy. And so
that's the nature of research. Yeah, when is that? And it's Mondays, well, I'm tired. Okay, well, Tuesdays, I'm catching up from Monday. It's just, so you get what you get. And when you have a small population of 3, or 5, whatever, that's the risk. You might get one. If you're looking at 25% and you got 5 teachers, you're going to get one response.
Yeah.
And that's probably going to be from the person who's either the mad person, like this, or, oh, I just love being here. That's what you get. But if you can help them understand, where's this going? Why am I taking this survey? Okay, so we start out from the front. We need to know how you feel so we can guide our technology integration. If the teachers say, I don't want computers in my classroom because they're too distracting. Okay, so let's make a computer lab, and you can take your students there whenever you want, and they won't be in your classroom. And so the teachers may just be like, what are we doing with this information? They don't see a value in it.
And I did share my log with them, but it's quite a lengthy paper again. And I made it available on our Google Drive. But I don't really know if they've read it, or, because it's lengthy and nobody wants to read things like that. And it's personal, but I was just like asking their help to support my research as well as like a PLC. That's the approach I had. But because we want to move things forward with the latest, work I've done with the technology approach, that on my last module, I was I was sharing with my head teacher that like the added value of technology, what the research are showing. And she thought it'd be interesting to share it with the rest of the community. But so far, there's no interest.
They may not have read it now, but they, I absolutely agree with her. Expose them to what research looks like, because again, as a teacher, you don't even have to read research studies as a teacher. You got your teacher's guide, and it says, ask this question, and you ask that question. And so
Mhm.
if you never look at a research study, you don't know why you're asking that question. So I agree with her, but just, teachers have to pick and choose. Am I going to prepare tomorrow's lesson, or am I going to read this research study paper that, Betty gave me? So, I think that was right. But just think about those things, anonymous in both languages,
Yeah.
and tell them up front, the bottom line up front, this is important because we are going to we're going to get technology. We want to know how you envision using it. And then, give them, 3 or 4 days to get it back to you.
Yeah.
Keep it no more than 5 to 10, or really, I would say 5 really well-written questions. So there are, I didn't put it in this course form, but there are, go into the library, the UO People Library, and just type in how to write good survey questions.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And because how you phrase it will, speaks to them. So like I say, what are your hopes for technology? May not
None.
be, it might be okay, but yeah, but like you said, if they don't really think it's going to happen, they don't have any hope for it. So I think you got a good start, but and it's a soft crowd because they're your colleagues. You're not
And
getting up in
new
front of
at
this
the
group
right.
saying, sorry everybody, I mean, you just do it again.
And I've just arrived as well, so like it's also like one of the answer the questions. What can be in the way is the build the time it takes to build trust in between new people who are building relationships.
Sure, absolutely.
Just
And that's why I think the anonymous way is the one to go. And yeah, somebody may not turn in, you won't know who that is, but they probably didn't feel like they had that much to offer. So whatever.
Nothing lost there.
Probably not.
Like you said, instead of forcing someone to do, and it's not authentic. Yeah.
And you know that from students. Okay, everybody, we're going to journal, because it's important to journal. And usually, it's the boys. And so they just, I had a good day yesterday. And then, okay, can I go play? And the girls are, hopes and dreams. And right. But plainly, I'm picking on you there. Right? So.
Have you been in my
it's
class?
true.
Sounds like you know.
But just to clarify, we're not required, because like I said, I'm not teaching in a classroom at the moment, so we're not required to actually do any our own research, like using a sample or anything.
No, you're learning the theory of ethics and the procedure for research. So this is all theoretical. Like I say, I'm guessing in 5910 there is some kind of application of the theory. There's got to be. If not, I'll be disappointed. But it will not. There's no way it's going to be a full research study because you only have 8 weeks. And a good research study, you really should have 16 to 20, and at least. So
has 5910 changed as well, though?
Well, it did. It's not. It's its own standalone course. It's not part 2, but I don't know what's involved. I haven't. I missed the meeting, and we haven't really talked about it because it's next term. But I've reached out to our department chair to get what is this course about, so I can help y'all. But I will tell you, it's not connected at all. So what you
that was
learned
my
here,
concern. I think. I mean, when did all these I assume these reforms have literally happened in like the last 6 months. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, we started, I think it was ready in term 5, but in my experience, getting things into Moodle.
Right.
When I worked on 5270 and 5280, it was a good year. I mean, because it's a lot to totally rewrite a course and then getting it into Moodle. So I think we started talking about it in term 5, and then in term 1, we're working out the kinks to this class. So they're doing that now with 5910, like, hey, and 11, like I say, 10 is the elementary track. And so you, Lauren, I don't know what
Yes.
your history is, but if you said, well, I've taught both, okay, which one do you want to take? Which route do you want to go? Where do you see
I do
yourself?
I'm elementary.
Okay, so you would take 5910.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the clarity.
Sure.
This
But when I get
helps a lot.
that, yeah, when I get that information, I will share it with y'all. But again, it's just like 5220 curriculum theory was not connected to 5240, except just tangentially, just on the outskirts. The theory was applied, but you're not doing whatever you're doing in this class does not carry over.
Okay. Because yeah, it was kind of stressful because like I said, my last year's been very like up and down, even with classroom. I've been doing freelance teaching. So I was like, well, I can't start the study now and do the research if I'm not even going to be there like in the next term,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to finish this master's if it's
Like I say, I was just telling somebody yesterday.
2025 goals.
Yes. Well, I have a young female, brand new officer, Army officer, and she was talking about something she wants to do, and it's a little frustrating. I said, timing is everything. You just wait for that thing to come along. That's probably the biggest lesson I've learned in my many years. Is just it'll happen when it happens, and many times like, oh, thank goodness that didn't happen. Or and the difference between pursuing and forging ahead. So if like, she really wants to be an officer, but she couldn't go officer in the job she was already doing because of her education. And so this new field opened up, and she's so excited about it.
Awesome.
And she can just transfer like that. And so, I told her, when you were trying to go lieutenant, you were pursuing, she's trying to get waivers and all kinds of stuff. And you can't. This is the requirement. And so when this new role opens up, she's like, I'm so glad I didn't go lieutenant. Yeah, because you were making the lieutenant happen. You were pursuing it. This thing, you're going after what you want. And this new field just opened up 3 months ago. So timing is everything.
Yeah. And I've been feeling so like upset with myself because I'm like, how stupid am I? Like, it's taken me 4 bloody years to do this. Like, what's wrong with me?
My goodness.
And so I just like, it's been really frustrating because like I've loved the courses. Like, honestly, like I've been so impressed with the content. I've loved it. I've learned so much. Just like I'm ADHD, so like it's just a struggle for me, like constantly. But I really want to get this done now, So
well, don't.
I feel motivated now.
There are people who start PhD programs, right? And you have 8 years. I mean, I don't think it's a law, but generally you have 8 years from the start to finish. There are people who don't finish, and you pay that whole time, whether you're taking a class to stay enrolled in a PhD program, you have to pay. So these people have paid thousands of dollars, and they don't finish in 8 years. So you start all over because the research has changed. That's the reason. So what I learned, 8 years ago about whatever I'm studying is different. That is not very smart. Starting a PhD program and just kind of rolling along. Now, things happen in life, absolutely, but there are just people who I just don't feel like taking a class this term, Okay, well,
I couldn't live with I couldn't live with that. That's my motivation. It's like I've been paying for University of the People, not a lot at all, but just like the small amount I have paid, I'm like, I can't throw that away. Like,
right.
Yeah. So
yeah. So no, please don't. Life is life. I mean, and I took a term off from teaching because I just had too much going on, and that's okay. We come and go, and you're still growing, right? You're still applying what you've learned. It's not like you forgot it all
That's
or
been so helpful. Honestly, like the stuff that I've learned has really been very helpful in the classroom.
yeah, good.
Yeah. And I love the fact that it's got like an IB kind of focus, you know,
Yes.
which is very much where I want to be.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, I am going back to the classroom and I have to teach in Florida one more year. And Florida is, I don't know if what you know about the United States education
Good luck.
environment right now, but Florida's not the best. And there ain't gonna be no IB. I mean, I have the luxury, I only have to be there 1 year. So I can do whatever I want for a year because I don't care if they hire me back. But for most teachers, it is very standardized. You do this on day 1, you do this on day 2, and there's no room for flexibility or exploration. It's pretty sad. But in my classroom, I don't need the job, so I don't care, just doing it.
So is everybody still teaching right now? Betty, you in the Tanzanian classroom, and Langley, you're in Malaysia?
Yeah, I'm at an international school here. Actually, it's an American international school here in Malaysia. And it sounds very different from like what Dr. Wolf has told me, because I'm not from America. So yeah, like it's very it's like a project-based curriculum, inquiry-based curriculum. So yeah, it sounds very different from like the standardized kind of
Well,
like
it's because of Florida. So our southern states, it's such a divide. We have red and blue states, and the red states are just
They
elected.
determine the education, right? It's like very independent to each state, isn't it? Like how they do things.
Yeah, but there's a mindset. It's very divided here. It's either highly conservative, which is the standardized, no exploration. Kids need to memorize dates and say a prayer every day. And then constructivist, let's explore, let's let kids do service opportunities. Florida is very conservative now. It didn't used to be, but it's gone conservative. So they see education as, I think, a way to keep the have-nots not having. And the private schools that get government money will be IB, constructivist exploration. So those kids coming out of those private schools are able to apply 21st century skills. The kids coming out of public schools don't even know why they were there. I mean, it's such a divide. It's really, and the teachers like us who are in these conservative districts suffer because there's just such little freedom. But like I say, I don't have to get hired for a second year, so I'm going to do what I want.
That's my approach in Korea, because the Korea, I don't know if you guys know about the Korean education system. I'm just, I just do ESL in kindergarten, but it's the same philosophy. It's like, it's diabolical. And I'm actually, Langley, I'm trying to get to Malaysia to teach. That's my other goal for 2025. Because
nice.
The Korean education system, even in the international schools, it's hectic. It's just, it's parrot fashion. Even the most progressive international schools here, there's still such a Korean influence. It's insane. And it's like, I'm the complete opposite, so 11 years has been a struggle, trying to fit into the box.
It's funny you mentioned that. My son is half Korean. My wife is Korean.
Oh, okay.
And, so like I was in Korea for, I want to say 6 or 7 years, and the moment we had our son, we were like,
wow,
it's too intense, it's too cutthroat, it's too standardized, it's too like teen, like unhappiness is so high, like they just finished
highest
the
depression,
Sunam,
highest suicide in the world.
Yeah, and then like just like they had the Sunang, the like entrance exam for college recently, and it's like so intense. Like they ground all flights.
Yeah.
So there's flights. If you're late, you've got to get a police escort. It's
Yeah.
like just not like how I imagine
Yeah.
education. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's very
It's
different.
backwards.
So like, yeah. So I recommend Malaysia. Like, it's
Yeah,
a
I've been
very
applying.
interesting country.
But you're moving.
To another city, yeah. So now I'm in the
Oh.
south, but now I'm moving to the capital, Kuala Lumpur. So yeah,
You're going
it's
to
not.
new school.
Yes, yeah,
I'll talk to
yeah,
you privately. I'm going to email you because
sure.
I'm really interested to head to Malaysia for the schools. Yeah.
I tell you what, I'm always so impressed with the bravery of I guess, here in America, I might move to Georgia, but I'm not moving to Malaysia. I'm not moving to Korea or China. I mean, I'm staying here, and y'all just like, I'm going to move to Malaysia from Korea. And then I'm going to go to, or Tanzania. So foreigners' perspectives are so much wider than Americans. We think Florida is so different from Colorado. It is, but not like Malaysia and Korea, So I just love to sit back and listen to y'all talk about, oh, yeah, I think I'm going into Dubai to teach. Like, I wouldn't go to Dubai to visit. You gotta wear a head thing. I'm not doing that,
But
You
America's
don't
so
have to
big.
wear
Like,
anything. You don't have to wear anything. This
Oh,
is
okay.
it. No, no, no. You don't have to wear anything. You can even drink
Dubai,
alcohol.
Dubai's okay. Yeah, Dubai's pretty liberal.
I was listening to you. Uh, I actually left because I was having this talk about, well, how it's all about SEL and children well-being and being innovators on paper, but when the final word comes down, it's money. There's so much competition over there, and the big names that it's the companies pays for the school fees, so there's no ceiling of how much it's going to cost for a whole year. So the school where I was teaching, the year fee was €30,000, which is not far from, for primary children, per children, and we had 8 entry per grade. With 25 children. So it's a factory. So it's not education anymore. But then on the other hand, they want you to research. They want you to be educators. But when you come up and you go, well, what I'm looking at is not lining up with what you were doing in school. And they're like, oh, well, so it's all a front. It's all very artificial, like the whole city is. And there's so much competition because if they lose their ranking in best school in town, they will lose a lot of money too. So the non-profit doesn't fit. So it's not. And I mean, there's a very interesting dynamic, like studying I studied my master when I was in Dubai, and studying the background, making us look at the educational system, and the curriculum was so interesting because in fact they recruit a lot of teachers from Ireland who can't find a job in Ireland because the job opportunities are very small, so everybody becomes a teacher in Ireland and has no job, so they all come to Dubai, which is for them such a good party land. So partying and being a teacher, I mean, yeah, I understand you
Dubai.
have to have your life, but then at some point you have to have your priorities. So they come in class so unprepared, not planned, and so laid back, and they just like try to cover up. So you can't really go forward, and the turnover there's so many schools that want people that it's crazy. So it's interesting dynamic, Dubai. But I was in China, and I was in Egypt, and it's all really interesting for me. Like culturally, I'm really interested in like the cultural aspect. So even for this assignment, and it's opened up my eyes as I mean, I come from a colonial country, and the colonial mark here is still very strong. I mean, Tanzania was occupied by German and English first. It's really interesting because I was trying, even the view from the local people, like I was starting to like make some little message in Swahili to like because even as a native, as second English speakers, I know their native language is very will help them. But that kind of approach is still not taking effect. They still look at English as a status, French speaking as a status. It was very big in Egypt. If you could speak French really well, means you had been able to go into a private school, a little bit like you said, Dr. Wolf, in, like the private education in America means the socioeconomic privileged children will carry on having critical thinking education, and then not have will carry on having the basic education so we can keep workforce.
I feel like that's a global thing though, honestly, we have the same problem in South Africa. Honestly, like this is a global thing, the private education international schools versus the governments. And sadly, as I think we're all very aware now, the sad reality is there are very few governments that actually do genuinely care about education. And because the bottom line is if you keep your population uneducated, they're not going to revolt and rise up and fight the system, which is what we all need to be doing right now. And in Korea, this is like I'm sure Langley also experienced it. When you're talking about it's a money-making market, and this is what's infuriated me as I've spent so much time in Korea now. I've realized these English hagwons, which are like the private academies for the wealthier Koreans that can afford to pay for private English classes. It's a money-making machine. I mean, like I am way more qualified to have my own English school than half of these Korean owners who can't even speak English, but they're running English academies. I don't know how you felt, Langley, but like it infuriates me to my core, because like I'm such a passionate educator, and then seeing these completely incompetent bosses making millions off my teaching expertise, and they don't care at all. So that's why I want to leave Korea, because I'm sick of being in a system where like it's not genuine education, it's money.
Yeah. See, our politicians, that's the role our politicians take, is telling teachers how and what to teach. But yeah, Langley, I'm sorry I interrupted.
No, yeah, I was just gonna elaborate a little bit on like I guess the government like role in that situation. Like, so if you're like a foreigner teaching in Korea, I believe most of the time you're on like what's called an E2 visa. It's like the English teachers visa, and you're tied to your employer. And so like I've heard from like a lot of people that like sometimes you get a good employer, sometimes you get a bad employer, and like like ethically, like professionally, stuff like that. Like these academies are not always like super well run. It's not like it does happen. So like your whole like living status in the country is dependent on this employer, which I think is like kind of unfair. Like, I mean, there's got to be like maybe some kind of safety net. I don't know, but yeah, it is quite an interesting situation, to say the least.
It's really bad. It's really bad for the ESL industry. These English teachers. Langley, I don't know if you know, like we started a teachers union recently, like a foreign teachers union for ESL teachers, because they are getting. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's completely failed. Like the private English education system in Korea, it's failed, and that's why I want to get out now, because it's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elo, did you want to?
Oh, sorry.
Yes,
Elo, you had your hand up a minute ago.
yes, yes. I'll be off soon because I have another meeting that's about to start. But I want to thank you all. I just sat down listening to you all, and you guys are so courageous, and very passionate. And thank you for all that you bring, into the profession. And for our instructor, this is the first time any instructor, since I joined University of the People, this is the first time any instructor is doing what you are doing. So I hail you. Thank
Well,
you.
I think it came from my
I'm hoping that, yeah, I'm hoping that there will be more engagements, especially on this course research. I think it's for every passionate educator. I think it's a thriving area for us to, you know, benchmark on each other, see what's happening. I'm not a mainstream line teacher. I'm a performing artist. I actually studied dance. Um, and I have a dance school. And from just my interactions with, that's where I started from. That's where my passion for education started from. From just my interaction with the young people who often, as you would agree with me, are very clueless. They could be so clueless about life, the ideas about life is so
well,
I just use my experience in the performing arts to train them, and I see some phenomenal results for people who didn't even want to have anything to do with developing interest in school. I just felt there must be something there for me to pursue. um I see character molding happening. I see people who come in very reckless, really reckless about life. And I see them beginning to develop some meaning for life. So I decided, so this course is particularly interesting. I'm particularly very interested in this course because I want to know, digging deeper into the performing arts technique, such as rehearsals, the act of repetition, what it does to the mind of a young person. Those are areas of interest to me because I do not know, I can't tell you for sure what I did to see this change in these people. So when I saw that anyway, I decided that, especially for our schools in the rural area, education standards are not very great in Nigeria. So if the urban schools are struggling, especially public schools, you can imagine the rural schools. So I said, okay, let me just apply to one of the schools and just tell them what my experience has been. So this particular school where I started took me in. Again, it was in a very dangerous area because where I live is very oil rich. So the youths there have this mentality, attitude that we don't have to go to school. We have oil. We can be rich. It's really bad. It's really bad. And
we
so
have
you
the
see
same thing with
dance.
with rap stars. I'm going to be a rap star and
Yeah.
make millions. Okay.
Well, not now with P.
So you
Diddy.
can
Hopefully they
see,
see that's not a good
yeah,
life choice.
yeah. So you can see living in that kind of milieu, my environment, having to, what do I want to tell a 16-year-old who is already in a gang, making money, come to school?
Mhm.
How do I want to do that?
Mhm.
So I set up in the community a dance club, you know, come see what we're doing. And then from there, I begin to like talk with them, and all of that. And for some reason, it's working. So I would really like to research into what is it that is really working?
That's right. That's
What
right.
can I really put my hands on
Mhm.
that I can say, just, I don't want it to be just, oh, it's performing arts technique. I really want to be able to zero in on especially on what is working. So, I
Yeah.
mean, this course is really interesting to me, and I'm happy the way you've kicked it off. I
Good.
look forward to working with everybody, to learning from your expertise as core teachers and your very experienced, widely traveled minds.
Mhm.
So thank you. Thank you so
All right. Well,
much.
Elo, before we all go, I had a student last term whose study is on the connection of dance, self-identity, or identity development, and now she's thrown religion into it. But anyway, so if it's okay, I'm going to email her and copy you, and then you two can
Oh, that would
talk.
be lovely.
Yeah, I can't. She's
That would be
in, I
lovely.
think,
Thank
Jamaica.
you.
Yeah, sure, sure.
And
Oh,
Elo, you also
that
might,
would be lovely.
on the dance thing, you might also find interesting. I don't know how much research there is, but I can also send you like the Instagram accounts at least. How Palestine, there's a dance group. And actually I follow them on Instagram, and actually their dance studio was bombed. But anyway, they have been using dance as a form of therapy to help the children with their PTSD and trauma. And that's what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
When I
Oh,
thought I still had to do the whole
oh,
research, like
Yeah.
thesis, I actually wanted to do it with relation to education, Palestine, and the dance thing. So Elo, look online about that, the Palestine and the
okay.
dance studios that they've got, because what they're doing through dance is incredible. It's
Wow.
also to give them
Oh,
self-identity, trauma, help them with their PTSD. It's fascinating. Yeah.
That's great.
fantastic. Thank
Mm.
Yeah,
you. It was good I
sure.
spoke out. Thank you.
All right. Well, Langley, I know you're into Sunday now, right? So
Yeah, it's
I'm
almost
happy
1
to hang
p.m.
on. Yeah, I'm happy to hang on if anybody wants to keep talking, but we're over our time. I think it was a great meeting, and I will start it earlier next time. I just totally forgot I was going to be going later. So anyway, yeah.
I
So,
just wanted to say thank you to Elo, but I'm also very privileged to have a French passport. So I can easily travel the world. And I know for some of other people, it's not that easy. So they can look up at me. A lot of Tanzanian staff look up and say to me, "Oh, you brave." And yeah, but it's not difficult either to apply for a visa. It doesn't, and it's not going to be rejected as some
no,
of.
but settling, I went to Iraq, and I was,
Wow.
you talk about a bubble, right? So the army took complete care of me. I cannot
Wow.
imagine doing that on my own. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
American, so I'm, for however much longer I want to be American. But anyway, okay. So yes, so like I said, I'm happy to stay on, but if you need to go, I know Elo's got a meeting, and Langley, love to have you, but don't want to.
Thank you very much. Anyway, it was very enjoyable
Thank you
to
so much. Nice to meet you all.
Yeah, sure.
Thank
online
you.
use technology.
Yeah.